Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and I've actually found someone, my friend Patrick here, who you've never seen The Exorcist.
No, I have not.
On behalf of all YouTube and Reddit comment sections, oh, where have you been for the last 50 years? Oh my god, how could you not have seen it? So, you haven't been avoiding it or anything, have you?
Well,
tell us about it.
I was just going to say, let me just explain a little bit of my story. So, initially, when I was younger, I had remembered seeing, trailers for The Exorcist and,
Make a tale so The Exorcist
really scared me. It always terrified me, especially the demon in certain still captures. That always freaked me out.
I mean, it freaked out audiences in 1973. That is not an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
People were getting sick in theaters. People were having to go to therapy because they were traumatized.
Right.
So that's not that far off.
I mean, that's what scared me the most. That kind of thing could happen, especially with some exorcism stories that I had as I read up on. I'm like, wow, this is really terrifying.
It was inspired by a true story.
Yes, exactly.
On a case in Maryland from the 40s, which if you haven't seen, check out the 2002 Showtime original movie called Possessed. That is an adaptation of that actual true story. It's really good. It's got Timothy Dalton and Christopher Plummer in it. Just really, really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, check it out. So, I mean, this is obviously one of the most famous, horror movies in history.
Yes.
It was up for Best Picture, a lot of acclaim. So, going into it, because we're about to see it here at Regal for the 50th anniversary, what are your preconceived notions? What are you expecting going in?
Okay. Well, from certain reviews I've seen, and people talking about it, for example, I Love the 70s, for example, if you remember that show from VH1,
Mm-hmm.
who did talk about that as a movie. I mean, I'm expecting it, to be obviously very atmospheric, some really shocking moments.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, of course, seeing a little girl tortured is going to definitely real. I mean, I've seen The Conjuring myself, so seeing a family getting terrorized,
Mm-hmm.
Is already hard enough. Which actually, it's funny, thanks to the Pope's Exorcist and getting into the Conjuring films, also thanks to seeing The Nun in advance.
They were his gateway drugs.
Yeah,
Exorcism
exactly.
movies.
My gateway exorcism.
Honestly, though, I'm more excited. I mean, I love this movie. It's one of my favorites. I've seen it a million times.
Oh yeah, I definitely know that.
I'm excited to see it on the big screen. I'm more excited to watch Patrick for the next 2 hours. I'm going to be more so watching his reactions and his responses.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And if at the end, you're traumatized,
right.
So be it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, at least I got an expert here to help me, get through it. So that's good. But yeah, like I said, Pope's Exorcist, Conjuring, helped me to at least get a little more comfortable with it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that this is considered one of the greatest possession films of all time.
It's the GOAT.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's like every list of best exorcism movies. It's other than The Exorcist.
Right. Exactly.
And in my opinion, the only one that's ever come close is Exorcism of Emily Rose, which let us know in the comments if you want to see Patrick watch that movie too.
Okay.
So we're gonna get going. Our movie's about to start, and we'll be back with Patrick's thoughts after seeing The Exorcist. So, what'd you think?
Excellent. Just plain excellent. Just love the build-up. Characterization was fantastic. Cinematography it was just incredible, and just overall, I was freaked out at several
He
points.
was.
I really was.
No lie, he jumped every time the subliminal demon face popped up on the screen.
Yeah.
See, I knew they were coming, and I knew which parts they were at.
Oh yeah, that still terrifies me, even just from the still images. Although I was surprised that it wasn't as frequent as I thought it was going to be. It was only roughly 2-3 times, and then of course near the end when you start to see the demonic transfer from Regan into the priest, and then that whole final act, just wow. I was
The final act where Father Karras
Karras, yeah, Father
decides to, when exorcism fails, just beat up the demon.
Right.
That was him remembering his boxer days.
Yes.
So I'm curious.
And also making the ultimate sacrifice, too, which
yes,
is incredibly
which
noble.
a lot of people, and something that I think people understand about The Exorcist, Regan is not the protagonist. Father Karras is. He's the one that has that ultimate character arc, where in the beginning he's lost, and in the end,
right,
he walks up the stairs ascending. The symbolism is everywhere. It's masterfully directed.
Oh yeah, and also very reflective of the times too, especially in the early 70s, with many people, turning away from the Catholic faith, from religion itself, and ultimately this movie helped to rekindle that. It
had a massive effect that I think you still feel today, just everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's still a cultural icon.
Mm-hmm.
It's tied for my favorite movie of all time, tied with The Shining. As a super fan, I just loved seeing it on the big screen. I've never seen it in the theater before. Just seeing that shot of Marin getting out of the cab in front of the house, like seeing that in a movie theater on the big screen.
Oh yeah.
It just, it touched my heart.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, Patrick.
Yes.
So now that you've seen it, was there anything that surprised you about it? Like, is there something you thought you expected to see but didn't, or something you didn't expect to see but did?
That's a good question. Well, I was a bit surprised at how much medical processes that Regan had to go through. I didn't realize how basically going through every kind of test imaginable, and having it really just seeing the mother just getting so
intense.
overwhelmed.
For a lot of people, the medical stuff is the most disturbing, unsettling portion of the movie, and I get why. So overall, what are your thoughts on it?
Overall, I have to say, I loved it. I can definitely see why it's considered the greatest exorcism as a film ever made.
Not just that, one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
Yeah, oh yeah, that too. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, I'm glad I saw it with you, because I didn't feel as afraid to watch it, because you're a resident expert. You knew, and giving me a little information, but still, at least holding it back some, just so that at least I could be surprised and just experience it for myself.
Do you think that it was less scary watching it in a theater with people than it would have been at home by yourself?
Yes.
In the middle of the night?
Yes.
Because I love watching horror movies that way.
Yes. Yeah.
You picked the perfect time to check out this movie with
Yes.
Exorcist Believer coming out this week, which
has
massive shoes to fill.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope it's good.
Yeah.
We'll see. So, let us know. What are your thoughts on The Exorcist? What do you think of the movie? What are your favorite parts of it? What do you think of Exorcist Believer? Do you think it'll be any good? Like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. And as always, every day
is Halloween.